All right, welcome to the Sunday Night Chat. My name is, you know my name. You know my name. If you know my name, what the hell is that song? You know my name. Beatles? You know it. You know my name. You know. Now, wait. There's another one coming in. Another song from Elvis. That one that Red wrote, you know. Don't talk. Don't if you talk in your sleep, don't mention my name. That's a fucked up song. It's all about a guy screwing some married broad. My name's Mike. Welcome to Sunday Night Chat. So, if you want to keep a secret, the last thing you want to do is tell it to a woman. That's what this video is all going to be about today. The person I'm talking about is listening to this right now, and she's like, F you, man. I didn't tell him about it. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Otherwise, I wouldn't know about it now, would I? So, it's crazy with women. And look, it can happen to a man too. I suppose if you tell somebody. But if I say to one of my bros, I'm like, hey man, this is between us. Most of the time I can expect him to keep a secret. Unless he's married. But then usually, if he says it to the wife, it's like, you can't say anything. I promise, Mike, I wouldn't say anything. But that's a thing. Like, if you got a married friend, you do have to be careful about what you say to him. Depending on what that relationship is like between the two of them in particular. Because, you know, everybody's a little bit different. You guys are chuckling right now. You know I'm telling the friggin' truth. It's not even that all women just want to say it. They can't friggin' help themselves. And here's a rule, okay? Men and women alike. Hey, man, or, you know, I just call the women by their names, but, you know, my bro's like, hey, man, dude, if I'm talking to the girl, I'm like, hey, here's what I'm thinking. Not 100% positive yet. I want to keep this a secret because, for whatever the reason is, in this case, which we're going to get into, you know, I want to be a secret. I want to surprise some people with this thing. And so I said, you know, just keep this between us. And she didn't. But here's what you do. Let's say, and I don't know how the subject of me came up anyhow, for her to be like, oh, and then bring it up. So, but, okay. Let's say you're hanging out around a bunch of people, and a subject comes up that involves the secret that you have with another person who told you, don't say anything to anybody. You should just pull a Mona Lisa. That little wry, little bit of a smile to yourself. Lips sealed. Lips tight together. It's all, the guy's name, I was just talking to this guy. He told me don't say anything to anybody. Oh, he just came up in the subject. You have to train yourself to, you got to fight the urge to say, oh, yeah, I was talking to him. There's a chance, you know, he didn't promise anybody. And because you could say, oh, yeah, you know, he might come out. Now it's fucked. Now especially depending on who you're talking to. Now, this secret was told from one woman to another woman. And the other woman is somebody we all know and love. She's a good human being. But one thing everybody knows, if you want to keep a secret, you definitely keep it from her. You definitely keep it from that person. Now, the person I wanted to keep the secret from is recently just working with this person, and so she may not know this about her. But now you do, don't you? I forgot to look at the watch. Now you do. Now you know. So now you can't say shit. And that's got to screw with your head a little bit. But the reason why you can't say anything at all, hinting at it, is because it's like, with women. Not so much with men. I'm sure there's men like this, but, you know, this is mostly women. We know this is true. So don't get all friggin' defensive in your mind right now, ladies. It's the friggin' truth. Always telling you the friggin' truth here. Truth zone. Truth zone here. It's the telephone game. So a little gossip here between two people, some things said. By the time it gets to the next person, now it's like, he's friggin' moving here. Yeah, he's got a job here and everything. He's going to be here, and that's it. You know, that's what'll happen. And I'll start getting. And how do I know this? Because my whole life has been like this. I couldn't tell my mother anything. Like you know, my mother. If I had a conversation with her, and I mentioned some woman that I just boned, but I didn't put it that way. You know, or maybe it was some girl that I was kind of hooking up with once in a while. If I ever mentioned a name or something or described her because I was in a good mood at that moment when my mom was talking to me, that would come up for months or years afterwards. Oh, how's so and so doing? Like, who? Who? And then I remember, I might remember who it was. Like, what? That woman was in my life for like a week. How are you still holding on to this shit? Wishful thinking on her part, you know. So I'm just saying, you know, you can't say, hey, when somebody says, this is between us, me and you, don't say anything to anybody. That means shut the fuck up. Just shut up. Don't say anything. Don't bring my name up. If you hear the name in conversation, pretend you didn't fucking hear it. What are you going to do? You're going to pull the Mona Lisa. Just pull a Mona Lisa. A little thing like maybe you know something because you know your lips going to curl a little. You know, you might give it away, but you seal your fucking lips. You seal your fucking lips. And if you can't do that without being suspicious, they walk the fuck away. Change the fucking subject. Change the subject. Is that a wart on your chin? I didn't notice that before. You know? Is that a new... But your bunion looks redder than it was yesterday. Whatever the fuck it is. Come up with another thing to change the fucking subject. Because why? Because you're not supposed to talk about the thing that you just talked to the person about 6 hours ago, or whatever the fuck it was, 10 hours ago, and who said to you, just between us, don't say anything to anybody. So I call... Because here's the story. You guys know I've been kind of out of it. Like the last few, I've been like a little, not me, like my happy-go-lucky thing, you know, telling you guys jokes and stories and everything else because life has been dumping on me a little bit. I've been a little unhappy. I haven't had any work, so there's no money coming in, and you know, it's hard when that happens. Things always turn around. Things always turn up. I don't want you to hang on what I say here. Like if I'm a little bit in the doldrums in a video and you can pick up on it, that doesn't mean like that's going to last forever. I'm not that guy. I'm a positive-minded guy. I'm a pretty happy guy. I sleep well pretty much every night, except when I got to get up in the middle of the night to take a piss because I drank too much water. TMI, I know, but you know me. So I'm just saying, I'm not a negative thinker. I'm just not. So, okay, but you guys have picked up on it, and I know that. And I mentioned how I was a little bummed because that whole VA thing got stacked up again. We might get into that by the end of this because some good stuff happened there. But at the same time, I have this high school reunion coming up on the 23rd of this month. And I was hoping that VA stuff would have came through because there's no reason why they should be denying it. And it is going to go through. But now we're going to have to wait a couple more months. But if it would have came through already, I'd be driving across the country right now, right? And I'd be hanging with my bros at the beach with my surfboards, sleeping in the van, probably in your driveway, doing my thing the way I do it, okay? Making everybody happy, cheering people up, cracking jokes, and being me. That's what I do. And it would have been awesome. But I'm like, I can't afford it. Now, one of you was super cool in the comments of last Sunday night's chat. There we go. And you're like, hey, I'd buy you a ticket to fly to Jersey. And that was a really nice thing to offer. I'm uncomfortable with that. Believe me, if a check showed up or a ticket showed up, I'd be like, okay, you don't have to worry about that right now because within the last 24 hours, everything has shifted. We'll get to that in a moment. I am not overly reluctant to take anything somebody gives me, right? There's a few people that watch the channel where when I do a road trip or something, like they'll send me $100 and it goes towards the gas. And that's very helpful for me. You may have watched my video recently where I talked about like what you can expect to pay for a craftsman. So you know I'm not cheap. So some of you were thinking, oh, you make good money. What do you need to be? And I don't beg for anything, right? But you have to remember, you should also remember when I tell you, I don't work a lot. So I only get one job every 2 months sometimes, you know, sometimes 3 or 4 months. And in between, I got to hustle and figure it out. Because I'm not out there looking. I basically wait for people to contact me because they need something. And because I'm that good at what I do, I'm confident and I'm comfortable and I'm pretty calm and cool about it usually. Because I know it's going to come along. It always does. So the shirt's been on the hanger here for months and his collar's poking my beard. I can feel it when I'm turning my head here. We got to tape this down or something. So I'm not rolling the dough right now, and I haven't had any money come in since I was up in Monterey, and I've been paying a lot of bills. You know, the house in Arizona costs money every month, bills here. I don't have to get too into this. You understand. So believe me, if somebody was like, dude, here, take some money, you know, enjoy that on the trip, I would absolutely do it. Well, yesterday, I got a couple texts from clients of mine, really good. I love these people. They're like my adoptive parents. They're the people who own the house where I have the workshop. And they said, hey, we've got miles for Southwest. So if you want, we'll just cover the ticket with our miles. So it doesn't come out of anybody's pocket. I feel great about that. Okay, but I have to mull that over, right? Because where do I stay then? Right, because that costs money. Like there's a motel in Seaside Park that, if I was going to go, I would fly out like the 21st, and I'd probably be there till the 25th or 26th. So 4, 5, 6 days maximum. And well, 3 to whatever the fuck that is. Do the math. Can't even. I have some water here. I have some dry mouth. That motel, to stay there for like 4 nights. It's like $800, man. It's ridiculous. I would love to stay there. If I was a kind of guy that I made a whole bunch of money or worked enough to where I had a whole bunch of money in the bank, I would go home once in a while and stay at the motel because it's old. I don't know when they built that. Probably like 60s or 70s, I'm guessing. My friends will know. What's cool about it is there's a bar there. And it hasn't been remodeled since it was built. So it's old looking, you know, it's really cool. It's like stepping back to the 1970s. And they have a happy hour there every day. Here's the crazy thing. I never went there my whole life. There was a fucked up thing that happened back in the day. I knew these guys when I was in 10th grade, and they used to go through the motel, and they took me with them. They peek in windows like little peeping Toms. And they were peeking in windows everywhere. I got blamed for that in a couple of cases where I had nothing to do with it. But with them, I did that a couple times. It wasn't a pervy thing. It was just kids doing stupid kid shit. And but that was the only time I was ever on that, and that was very infrequently. That was only maybe 2 times, 3 times max. So I'm not like a perv or anything like that. But the point is, that's it. Like I never got a room there for the night, and I never went to the bar, which is crazy. Up until, like, I guess it was 2017, 2018, 2019, 20, and 21. So for 5 years in a row, I went back there. And you guys, if you've been here long enough, you know that. Because I bought the first Astro van. I drove that back through in 2018. In February of 2018. I was there in a couple months earlier for a wedding. I went back in February to do that island top for that house. Kitchen island top. And then I came back that summer. And then every summer after that. Right through COVID. And it was awesome. Driving across country, seeing friends, doing projects on the road. It was cool. And that's when I was home. It was the first time I ever went to the bar at the Windjammer. And man, what a cool, fun place to be. Like I ran into people I haven't seen in decades, man. Decades. It's where all the locals and the people that are from there who come into town once in a while, they're going to be at the Windjammer at happy hour. And I'm going to tell you right now, Jersey bars that do happy hour do it right. Very affordable drinks. And we're talking, I'm not knocking anybody here, but my friends are professional drinkers, okay? They're going to drink. They're not fucking around. You know what I'm saying? They can handle it, and they're going to drink a lot of it. And because of that, it's not like California. People are healthier out here, so they charge way more for the drinks and everything because generally speaking, people don't drink as much. Not Jersey. In Jersey, people are drinking as much as they can get down their gullet and still kind of walk and look like they can walk without help. Like that's kind of like the what everybody's shooting for. So they're drinking a lot, which means the joints can afford to charge a reasonable price for a drink because they're going to keep drinking. And the bartenders are cool. You'll get a few free drinks here and there. And everybody's buying each other drinks. And it's fun. But on top of that, a happy hour in Jersey, best food, dude. Happy hour food in a bar in Jersey is like, you got some Yenta out back there. You know, the old Italian ladies are out there. Man, they're making these friggin', it's good food. Really good food. So that would be the dream. Be able to, yeah, here's $800. Let me stay at the Windjammer for 4 nights or something. Holy shit. I would do that in a heartbeat, but I can't swing that. So I get the texts. I call this gal. She happens to live over the bridge, and so it's a little bit of a haul, to get over to Seaside. But she's working there every day right now, so I could go with her there, and I could hang out all day, go back with her, I suppose. And that's fine, and it's a great offer, and I might take her up on it. But I said to her, look, you're like a last resort. I do appreciate it, though, so thank you. I know I got that locked in case I need it. And she's super cool. I really like her. She is one of my favorite people. She's kind of cantankerous. Kind of, I'm not going to say typical Jersey chick, because that could be taken the wrong way by some people, but she's cool. She's a ballsy broad. And hot. She was smoking hot in high school, cheerleader, all that stuff, and still attractive now, even though she is down on herself. Here's the thing, separate from her. It doesn't matter anyhow, because so many of the girls I went to high school with are still super hot, and it's crazy, because you're still like, holy crap, give me a chance. Just give me a shot. Please, let me put a smile on your face. Problem is, they're not interested in fucking anymore. They're past it. They're too fucking old for it. They'll just tell you, I'm not really. I'm like, oh, Jesus. What am I supposed to do? But then they'll give you a shift. They see you as a young girl. What's he doing with that? He's old enough to be her daughter. If you were in the mood, we would be doing it, and I wouldn't be looking, you know what I'm saying? Not that I'm searching out young chicks. I am not. Anyhow, the thought of some young woman even looking at me going, with some sort of interest, it did happen. It happened. I'm not going to say too much. There was an incident here over the last couple of days where there's a couple of these young girls, and one of them was like looking at me, and I know that look. I was like, holy shit, maybe I still do got it. Anyhow, so I got that sitting there, and I'm thinking, I don't know, I'm still on the fence. I'd rather stay in Seaside if it's possible, in the park there on the island, because that's my hood right there. I can go around all day talking to different people that I know. I could go up on the beach. I could probably borrow a surfboard. I'm absolutely positive I could borrow a bicycle. I can get everywhere I want to go and be happy and know the spot, and it's good. And that's what I would prefer. That's why I like to drive the van, because then I got my own wheels. So I'm thinking about it. And I get a call last night, and it's pretty late. I think it's like 10:30. Let me think. 10:30, 11:30. So it's almost 11 o'clock. I get a phone call, and it's this other girl I went to high school with, who is a real kick in the pants, man. This is out of the blue. She calls me. I had left her a voicemail a week or so ago. She graduated in my class, so she's going to be part of this high school reunion thing. And this is where it starts getting cool, right? Because she happens to live in Point Pleasant, and there's a boardwalk there. She's like a block from the boardwalk. Perfect location. And on that boardwalk, there's a bar there called Martell's, and that's owned by another high school guy that we're all friends with. And this guy is something else, man. What a dude, man. This guy must have been fed to the fucking lions in a previous life, because this life is pretty awesome for him. Not saying he had the easiest life, To people that don't know his life, they could be jealous of him and that sort of thing, and he's not a big talker. And when you have all the attributes, this is a guy, you can be envious of this guy. He was just a stud in high school, like looks-wise. And I'm talking model good looking. I think he's like 6 feet tall. And, he had the abs. I think he wrestled at 168 pounds senior year. And I always got along with him. He and I got along fine. He beat the shit out of me in wrestling because I was like 100 and I don't even know what the hell I was. I wrestled freshman year at another school up in New York. That was the first year I was living alone. I got in a lot of troubles. I did football and wrestling. I quit both of them. I went to the practices and then for a while, but then just didn't participate anymore because I was smoking grass and I was cutting school and just doing all the wrong stuff. I had to go to summer school and everything else, and then I ended up back down the shore. It's a long story. I've told it here before, but let's just push all that aside. Senior year, I did 10th and 11th grade. I did track, winter and spring and winter track because I wanted to be on the weight team to lift weights because I wasn't a big guy, and I should have been a sprinter, a runner because I was pretty fast. In freshman year in New York, beginning of school, and this was a big school, so the freshman class alone had over 300 kids in it. And in the gym class, we had to do the shuttle run, and I beat everybody in the entire freshman class. And so the gym teacher that year followed me around. Every time he saw me, he tried to get me out go for track. The problem was he had a crew cut. Excuse me. And the way he came at me, it was like my gaydar was going off. That's just how, and I didn't even know that's what was going on. But in my brain, that guy creeped me out. He made me very uncomfortable. He didn't make it sound cool at all. And I'm thinking man stuff. I'm thinking wrestling and football. But the problem there was my history teacher was the coach for that. And he was a pretty jack guy, and he didn't like me. And he fucked with me all the time. He stomped on my head in wrestling one day with his foot. And that was the last time I went there. Anyhow, senior year I did wrestling just to get into shape for the Marine Corps. And that's where this guy was, the 168 pounder. Funny thing is, the gal that we can't tell anything to is married to this guy, and he's this big guy, and I love him. He's such a great guy, and his brother and I were pals, and his brother was a state wrestling champ and all that, and so was he. And as a freshman, I was a senior. As a freshman, he was a heavyweight. He was well over 200 pounds, I believe that's correct, at that time. And so the wrestling coach, his two sons were also there. And one of them graduated with us too. And both of those guys were state wrestling champs. We had a lot of good wrestlers at our school. And so the coach, I think he might have been in the Marine Corps. I could have that wrong. But he knew I was there just to get in the shape for the Marine Corps. He knew that. I mean, I told him so. And so what he would do is basically have me wrestle the very best wrestlers that were all heavier than me. So they basically would beat the shit out of me every practice. I got the shit kicked out of me every practice. And he just loved it. He's like, this ain't the Marine Corps. It's a lot tougher than the Marine Corps. And he used to say things like, oh, hey, you're here for one of two reasons. You either like getting hurt or you like hurting people. Jersey. They beat me up so bad I had to go to the hospital. They took the curve out of my neck. Like I sprained my neck. That was the end of wrestling. Senior year. At any rate, this dude owns the bar. He's a great guy. And the gal in Point Pleasant and him, I'm trying not to use anybody's names here. They're super tight. They grew up together as little kids and everything. So anyhow, she calls me up. We're talking, and I tell her, I'm like, look, I've got an opportunity to get a plane ticket to come home. And right away, she's like, I got you covered. I'll pick you up. You got a room. You got a room to stay here at the house. Now, a lot of you right now are going, woohoo, that's awesome. Everything's covered. Good for you. I'm so happy. You're going to get to go to your high school reunion and everything else. Well, we're on the phone to about midnight. I want you to think about that because midnight here is 3 a.m. there. And in the background, her daughter's there, her daughter's boyfriend's there, and there's it makes me nervous because, and they're all great people, and she's a cook, man. She's a great, amazing cook. And Italian. I don't need to say anything else. And the thing is that they are late night people, and it's like Animal House. It's like being in a friggin' frat house, staying there. Several years ago, I drove across the country, and she's like, hey, you got a room here. And I spent one night for sure, maybe 2 nights, and I figured out another way to go. Not anything against her, but I couldn't sleep. I want to go to bed at a reasonable hour, Get up. When I'm at the shore, I want to be up. I like being up when the sun comes up or before the sun comes up. I like to be on the beach and watch the sun rise. That's what I like to do. I like to watch the sun set. I don't mind going out to the bar and having a few drinks with my friends and everything else and having some laughs, having a party. That's cool. But I can't I can't sleep in a house where there's noise all night. People running around, making noise, talking, laughing. Not saying they shouldn't be having any fun. They should be having all the fun they want to have. It's their lives. Have fun. If that works for you, that's great. But it's very difficult for somebody to sleep in the house when everybody else is still partying. So that's a thing in my brain. And I'm like, so I talked to her last night. I'm like, okay, thank you. I may take you up on that. I probably will. I might need the ride. I have to fly into Philly. It's like an hour and a half drive each way for somebody to pick me up. That's a lot to ask. So, okay. That's in my brain. So today I did a couple of texts with people, but I end up calling my buddy, John. I don't mind mentioning John's name. Hey, John, how you doing? Are you laughing yet? Are you friggin' laughing? How do you like this one? So I'm talking to John, and I'm like, dude, don't say anything to anybody, because A, I'm not sure yet if I can even pull this off, right? I don't know if this is going to happen. I can get the plane ticket, but I went through everything I just went through with you. Told them I can stay over there. I can stay over here. This is the problem with that. If you know anybody in the park, in Seaside Park, that might have a room or someplace I can stay, let me know. If somebody walks in the shop, he's got the bait and tackle shop with the restaurant there. It's where the girls work. It's where his wife runs the restaurant there, and my friend that I said don't tell anybody works there, and so does the blabbermouth lives. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I love this woman. She's awesome. I am not, am I talking shit? Yeah, I suppose I'm talking shit, but I'm talking shit like all Jersey people talk shit when they still love the person that they're talking shit about, because they know they deserve to be talked shit about, because they know what they're doing is the truth. All right? You know you're a fucking blabbermouth. Fucking blabbermouth. You can't keep a fucking secret. So I'm on the phone with my buddy, and he's talking to me, and I guess his wife is home next to him, and she goes, oh, and she says something. He goes, hey, did you hear that? I said, no, what? He says, she just said you're coming out. I said, what do you mean? He goes, yeah, she knows all about it already. Like, how do you know? She says, well, the other one, the one I told, did not say anything about it, told the blabbermouth, and that's how, so now everybody knows. So he knows. So what do? As soon as I hang up the phone with him, I text the gal that I talked to yesterday, who I said, what did I say? What did I say to you? What did I say? I said, what? I said, hey, it's between us. Don't say anything to anybody. So I text her. I go, well, now we know you can't keep a secret, with a bunch of smiley emojis, the eye roll emoji, like, to let her know it's okay. I'm not mad. I'm not angry. But now I know I can't tell you anything. Now I know, So, and she's right away, I didn't say anything to anybody. Oh, yeah? Well, then how do I know? I said to her, but all I said was, you might. Too late, because it went from you might to Mike's coming, and it went from her to her to her to him while I'm on the phone with him. That fucking fast. And here's the funny thing. She's still defensive about it. And she's like, it's impossible. We're slammed. I just told her that just now, and we're working so hard, it's impossible for her to have said anything to anybody. Insinuating I must have said something to somebody else, I suppose. Maybe that's what she meant. No. And my response was, how do I know then? How has it already gotten back to me if you're the only person I said this to so far? And it's all right there within that. This is a funny thing. It's actually a funny thing. And if you've ever worked in a restaurant or something like that, there's women involved. Everybody knows everything about everybody else. That's because that's what they talk about all day. In between waves of, as a shift goes up and down with the work flow, right? People coming in to eat for lunch, breakfast, lunch, dinner, in between that, they're talking. And women, women, they don't stop anyhow. So, and women are good at multitasking. More importantly, they're good at mentally multitasking. So a waitress could take orders, talk to the customers, make them laugh, make them feel good, get to know what their names are and what's going on. Oh, it's your first time here. Great, 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 great. By the way, Mike's coming into town. Oh, yeah, and so-and-so's screwing him. That person's cheating on him. And they can have all the dirt going on at the same time that they're also doing their fucking job. And it could be like 5, 6, 10, 34 different fucking dramas going on between 5 stories per employee about all their personal lives on top of the people that are coming in. I'm telling you, women's brains can do all that shit. Just saying what I just said makes me want to take a fucking nap. I'm wore the fuck out just from being able to think in my brain how much women's brains work. But the thing is they work in that world of shit that is none of their fucking business. It's none of your fucking business. I'm not talking about me right now in this particular situation. I'm just saying in general. I can't tell you how many women I know. I go home and they want to volunteer all this personal information about all their friends, everything that their friends are doing. I don't want to know it. I don't want this information in my head. It's none of my fucking business. It's none of your business either. It's just, but you can't get upset about it that much. And in the big scheme of things, it's not that big of a deal. Because we're all humans, and the truth is we all go through all these things. It's very natural. It's just, bottom line, if you want anybody to know anything, don't tell anybody anything. So I guess it's all my fault. That's what John said. It's like, the first thing he said to me, I said, hey man, I need to keep this a secret because I'm not sure if I'm coming. So A, I don't want to get anybody's hopes up. And B, if I am coming, I want it to be a friggin' surprise. Right? So I want it to be a surprise. And he's like, and I said to him, I said, I told this other person because I might have to stay at her pad. He goes, well, you fucked up there. You told a woman. You can't tell a woman. We had that conversation. 10 minutes later in the same conversation is when his wife says, oh, Mike's coming out. And John's like, I go through it again for you. Mike, did you hear that? What? No. Well, his wife, she just said you're coming out. I'm like, well, how does she know? Well, because the other one you told the you get the picture. Anyhow, I just got off the phone with another friend of mine who's from the town, and his family has 3 houses in Seaside Park, the fatter part of the island, closer to Seaside Heights, and but it's packed because it's summertime. So and we're talking Italians here. All right. So there's, they got like 3,500 fucking cousins that, rotate throughout the week all summer long. So those houses are packed. But if there's an opening, he'll hook me up. He might hook me up with an extra car that he's got. And he said I can come by and borrow a bicycle. So that's cool. Hopefully I can borrow a surfboard there too. At any rate, that's a thing. So when I'm done with you guys, I'm going to get back on the computer, look up the airlines, and then call the people that offered me their miles. It's Southwest, and I think I'm just going to go ahead and get the tickets, and then I'm going to make this happen. Now, I think that's all I have to say about that. Tomorrow, a guest is coming by that you all know and love. But I'm not saying anything because it might not happen, but we're locked in for it. So this person is going to come by. We're probably going to do a little bar hopping tomorrow on Hollywood Boulevard, and then we're going to do something on Tuesday. So that'll be fun. Wednesday I gear up, and then Thursday, as far as I know right now, so far I'm driving out to Lake Arrowhead. So it looks like I locked down a project. It's just starting right now with a demo thing of a master bathroom, and but I feel pretty good. I think they realize that okay, he charges X. It's not cheap, but at the same time, I'm way cheaper. Like having me go in and do stuff you're going to save a ton of money over hiring a contractor that has a bunch of guys that you're not sure about, that you might not feel comfortable with being in your house, and you don't know what the outcome of the work is going to be. And with me, you can see it. So that's a good thing. And I have a vision. So I can work directly with you and make sure you're going to get as close to what's going on in your brain and satisfies your personality type and your aesthetic. I'm that guy, And, excuse me, If you had a contractor that's cool like that, that's fine. But then that contractor has to find the good finish guy, trim guy. He has to find the guy to build that custom cabinet the way that you want it. All those guys cost extra money. With me, you get everything. I do the whole thing. I have the vision. We talk about it. And I think there's going to be, I talked to him about a floating cabinet because in bathrooms in particular, I prefer a floating vanity. I don't like anything on the floor because leaks happen, shower water splashes, all kinds of things can happen. And if you buy a vanity, you don't know what the hell it's made out of anymore. If it's MDF, you definitely don't want it in your bathroom. If it's plywood, it's a little bit better. But if anything's on the floor, well, that can just wick up moisture. So I see it's built in too. There's little short walls on either side of it. So it floats between two walls. And he mentioned live edge a lot. So he wants basically a live edge top on it with bowls that sit on top, which is a very cool look. And I'm seeing it now. And I'm seeing cherry in my mind. And I have some unique ideas for them. I'm not going to try to sell them on these ideas. I'm just going to mention them. But I like the idea of sliding doors instead of cabinet doors that open because it's kind of narrow. You have to walk through there. If you open a door, you have to walk around it. Where if it's a slider door, it doesn't open into the room. So it's never in your way. So I have some innovative, really cool things that I want to bring up. They don't necessarily cost more money. They're just cool things to do. There's a little room there for the toilet that has a door. And if that door closes, you're pitch black, right? And I mentioned to him, I said, I could do an opening above that toilet with a window. It could be opaque or something if you want, but at least it could let light in. You know, it's a short little window at the top that lets light into that space, which is, it makes you don't feel like it's, you're in a closet basically taking a shit. Greg, the wife doesn't have to hear this part of it. So, anyhow, if you guys pick up on this from me, you know already, I get passionate about things. And when I want to do something, I put my time in it and I really focus on it and I do it to the best of my ability every single time. That's how I get the work I get, is I care about what I do. And so I'm already in my mind, I'm like, oh yeah, I could do this, I could do that. It could be really, I want to create art. The designer artist in my brain is there. It has to be satisfied. So, I think I'm driving out there on Thursday, which is weird because it's probably going to be 3-4 days minimum of work. So that's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And could be into Monday too. Who the heck knows? But that's a thing. So I'll do okay there. But I've spent so much money in the last month and a half or so. I got bills waiting to be paid. Yeah, that money ain't gonna go very far, is what I'm saying. At least that part of that job. So then I come back, do a few things, and then boom, I'd fly to Jersey. So that's looking like what's gonna happen right now. So just filling you in on what's going on. Here's the cool thing, and the reason I bring it up with you guys is I want you to be excited because I'm gonna shoot film. Well, with the camera here. So I'll be able to do videos on all this stuff. It'll be fun. I think shooting what I do at the house is important because there's a record of what I do, but that's a separate thing. I'm looking forward to taking pictures of my friends, and I want to do interviews with some of them. I have this thing in my brain. I want to, especially my friends that own businesses in town, it'd be fun to sit down with them and do that. And I think for you guys, what might be fun is if I'm sitting with a pal and we're just telling old stories, because this is Jersey. That person's probably going to screw with me, and that person's probably going to reveal things about me from the past. It's going to back up a lot of the stories I told you already. So oh shit, this is cheat. That's everything he told us a couple months ago with that story. Then you'll know, because some people think I'm full of shit half the time. I'm not lying here. A pretty crazy life. So that could be fun. And I think stuff will come up too, even some political stuff and stuff back home with the town. It's an interesting thing. I just had this conversation with my friend. I have it with my friends all the time. A lot of you might not realize how this goes down, but you can have a town where the people running the town, they need to pull in revenue to cover the costs. the municipal costs, right? The police department, the the fire department, garbage, all the things you need to do to run a town, that costs money. And if you happen to be in a place where all of a sudden real estate numbers go up, well, the way your property tax is worth, it's based on what you pay for the house. So basically, what has happened there, because it's close proximity to New York City and everything else, is that people from up north that have all this money, they go down there and start buying the houses. And this started happening kind of like in the 80s, like late 80s into the 90s. People started selling the homes they grew up in because they were offered a lot of money. You know, if somebody back then, if somebody offered you $1 million for a house, you took it because $1 million back then was a lot of money. And that's what happened. And then little by little, people are paying more and more money. Now there's houses there that they're $2 million, $3 million, $10 million. You know, it's crazy numbers. And what happens is that those people have so much money, they pay the money. A lot of times they tear the house down. They're tearing these old structures down, these old buildings, all the old landmarks. The town's just not the same anymore. The town council's happy because the property taxes on, like, here's the thing that's fucked up. I think this is what's going on too, is if they assess your house, let's say you've owned your house for 80 years, which is the case with my buddy, but the town comes in and they assess your house now at $2 million. Well, you might have to pay $20,000 or more a year in property taxes now. That's fucked up. Now imagine if you're an old person and you've been in that house all that time and you're on a fixed income and you've been able to own that house, and now this happens and they reassess your house. You cannot even afford to live in your own house anymore. What the fuck is that? And I've been seeing a lot of posts lately on the computer here about that, especially on Facebook. Property taxes are criminal. Now, I get it. The town has to make money. I get it. But this is unreasonable. It's unreasonable. It's not a cool thing. In particular, if you're going to the people that have lived in a house for multiple decades, a generation, multiple generations, that house is paid for, they're in there, and now you're going to come along and say you've got to pay us tens of thousands of dollars a year in property taxes? Not cool. Not cool. But because this town now makes so much money from property taxes with the cost of these houses, they don't have to be friendly to business anymore. So now there's no new businesses cropping up in that town. You can't afford to have a business in that town because of what it would cost you to open the business, pay for the lease, pay the taxes and everything else on that. The person who owns the property has to pay all these crazy property taxes. So for you to be able to afford the lease in the first place to have the business, it starts getting astronomical. It's antithetical to capitalism and like, because you need businesses to be able to affordably have a place to have the business, right? They got to be able to afford that. They got to be able to sell their wares, their goods, whatever the services they're trying to provide at a fair cost that people can afford. They have to be able to afford to hire and pay a worker. And if the town is raising the numbers so high, well, then now businesses can't afford to do business. There's a business there. There's a bakery there, Park Bakery. I think I talked about it recently. Which, you know, I have a weirdness with it because my dad had the best bakery ever there. Elaine's, which left in 1976, and that's the year Park Bakery arrived. I never set foot in that place. It's a personal thing. That closed. It ain't coming back, man. Whoever bought that, they're probably going to tear that down. They're probably going to put another condo there or something else. And that's that. There's a place called Long Beach Island that's south of us. And that became that long before this. And so, you know, you go to a town, and then what do you do for services now? You know, it's going to get to the point where every time you need something, you got to OTB it. That's called over the bridge. I learned that one last night. That's not what we called it when I was a kid. You said over the bridge. Over the bridge. 4 syllables, OTB. You're saving a fucking syllable. That's where we're at today. One extra syllable annoys people. The faster things get, if you had to go back and use a dial-up phone, you'd be pulling your hair out of your head because you had to wait a few extra seconds every time For you to dial a phone like that right now, half of you would have a fucking coronary getting so aggravated that it's going to take you, 15 seconds to dial a number. That's where we're at today. Once you get used to a certain thing, you can no longer go back to the old thing. That is a mental issue. That's a real serious issue. Okay. Okay. My brain is locked on at home right now. Anyhow, this is some of the stuff I want to talk about. And I want you guys to meet, and I don't know if he's going to be cool with it. I hope he is. There's a great guy in town. Some of you helped him out. You might remember Right Coast Surf Shop. Excuse me, in Seaside Park. It's cool too because he's right there on the corner of 3rd and Central, which is my street when I was a kid. I used to go around that block. I couldn't leave that block as a kid. The memories, man. The music blasting through the doors. There was so many shops, stores there, touristy places, beach chairs you could buy. You go into the bake shop. You had Joey's Pizza. You had the Blue Front Liquor Store, the Blue Front Market, all right there on that block. Everything. It was just, I'm having, you can get emotional thinking about it. It's a time that's gone and it's never coming back. Anyhow, I miss it. And that's what aggravates all of us because we see what's happening to the town. But anyhow, Mike Colombo, great guy. He owns the Right Coast Surf Shop. It's right on the corner of 3rd Ave there. And he had a heart attack, I guess is what you'd say. And he's in good spirits now, but he's a fucking mess, man. He's like got an eye patch on. He's got his arm in a sling. Talking kind of funny. He's fucked up. It's fucked up. It's a great guy. He's getting better. It looks to me like every time I see him, he's looking better. And I wish him nothing but well. And a lot of you guys, I put it out there that there was a GoFundMe page for him at the time, and several of you donated money to that. Thank you so much. I say it all the time, I got the best subscribers here. So many of you are just great human beings. You helped me out. Matter of fact, Robin and Patrick, you sent me a package yesterday. They sent me a weather radio. We talked about the whole thing that happened in Texas, and I told you, if you're going to be out camping someplace, you should have one of those NOAA radios. It's like solar generated and everything else, and you could just have that on. So that if there's a weather report, tornadoes are coming, crazy winds, hurricane, whatever it is, that thing goes off, wakes your ass up, and if that's your area, you can get out there and look and move your fucking rig if you're in a floodplain or something. So if you're a van life type person, you're out there adventuring a lot, you go out in the middle of nowhere, you absolutely should have one of those radios. It's just a safety thing. And thanks, guys, for sending that to me. You guys are so fucking cool, man. I can't get over it. And I wonder about you guys. Because I know I'm not the only guy that you watch that I think you do nice things for. I don't want to get emotional. But you guys make me emotional in a happy way. Because I feel like... you're like, you understand I live alone and everything. You just want to cheer me up and thank you for that. It does go a long way, and it does. Your intentions are. I'm grateful, and it does it. You're achieving the what you're going for, and you guys are angels on earth because I know I'm not the only one, and you're making a lot of people happy, and you're making people feel good, and I just want you. I can't say enough, Robert and Patrick, how much I appreciate that. And everybody else who's here, just watching, not doing anything else other than commenting and leaving. The comments are important for the video, so I appreciate that. What else? Oh, I did write a couple things down here. Let me just see something here. Well, I'm not going to get into that. I have an idea for one that got away. That's a good story, too, and I'm going to make that funny for you guys. Everything I just talked about now. Oh, yes. I wanted to bring this up. Illegals, right? The illegal migrants and all that. It's a thing. Like, there's a big... I just watched something about... I guess Dr. Phil was on Bill Maher. I haven't seen it. I saw a clip. I watched Benny Johnson this morning. It's like a 10-minute video he had on it, and he showed what they kind of got into it about. And you have the left is always like, oh, we need these people to pick our food and everything. It's like the way that they don't even hear what they say. They look at illegals as paid slaves. I mean, that's an oxymoron, right? Well, you're not a slave if you're paid. But they stay, on one hand, they act like they care about them, but they see them as fulfilling a niche that supports them in their lifestyle. They don't even see that they put those people down. Like they categorize them into that. Hey, we need those people. We need those people. We need those brown people to pick our food. We need those brown people to do our lawns. We need those brown people to take our garbage cans out. We need those brown people to babysit our kids. That's a fucked up thing. They don't even hear that they're saying. That's how they look at those people, as being there to provide for them. It's interesting. They don't ever stop to think that. And here's another thing. Because Phil points out, Dr. Phil, he's like, look, he's going after the dangerous people. And the other guy says, well, but they go to Home Depot and just round those people up? Well, hey, I got news flash for you, dude. A lot of those guys standing in front of Home Depot have criminal records. A lot of those guys standing in front of Home Depot have molested children. Not all of them. Not all of them. Maybe only 10% of them. Maybe a little more, maybe a little less. It's a good number. If you raid the Home Depot and you round up a bunch of illegals and it turns out that a couple of them have criminal records and they're pedophiles and everything else, then it was worth doing it. Okay? Period. Now here's my point that I never hear anybody else say. Because if you're leaning on the left of this, or even if you're not, you don't know where the fuck you stand on it, you're just towing that line. You're repeating this shit because emotionally it sounds right to you. Fine. What's your solution? What would you do if you were president? What's your solution? For the millions, tens of millions of people that have just walked across the border, totally unvetted. We know nothing about them. Keeping in mind, people from all over the planet want to come here. They still want to come here. Many of them come here legally. Some of them get visas or whatever. A lot of them become naturalized citizens, right? Those people, we know everything we could possibly know about them because they're vetted. They're interviewed. There's a background check on them. We know a lot about them. So my dad came here that way, got sponsored to come over, became a naturalized citizen, knew more about how this government works than people that grew up here and went to school here. Because to become a naturalized citizen, you have to learn all that shit. You go to classes, you learn it. You're proud of it. You're proud to become an American. Every immigrant that comes here that becomes a naturalized citizen is just like, oh, they're so happy they love America. So here's my proposal. I think we should round up everybody. I'm not saying every single woman should be deported, but every single one of them should be registered. Not registered to vote, nothing like that. When I say registered, I mean every one of them should have their fingerprints taken. Every single one should be run through a background check to see if they have warrants, criminal records, or anything else in the country that they came from or anywhere else. Tested to make sure they don't have, fucking measles or anything else like that. I do not think that's too much to ask for. The left wants you to register weapons in your house. Your own firearms that you're constitutionally allowed to have, which, fuck that, you should never register anything. Don't register shit. The only thing a registration is going to do is put your gun on a list, and then they can always come to your house one day and knock on it and say, you're not allowed to have that anymore, and we know you have it. That's what happened in Germany, right? There was a registration before Hitler even came to power, right? But when Hitler came to power, every time they went to another place, every country they went to, first thing they would do is they get the records at the local town hall, find out who owns a firearm, go to their house, take their guns. Remember the movie Red Dawn? Remember that one? The first one from the 80s, the first rated R movie, Red Dawn. You'll see that there. They say it right there. The guy says, hey, go to the, wherever the fuck it was, the town hall, the mayor, get a list. This is the form you want. It's going to tell you who in the town has the weapons. Go take their weapons. That's what you do. That's why you don't want to register that shit. But my point is, they want you to register an inanimate object that overwhelmingly, more than likely, has never killed a human person, ever. A human person. I guess you have to be specific because apparently we have aliens living among us now. I've been watching a whole bunch of those videos lately. Last couple days. Walking with the whites and all that. Dude, there's some really wild shit out there. At any rate, I might be one of them. I'll be perfectly honest with you. There's too much that goes on in my brain and this weird connection and UFOs showing up and me taking pictures of them and having weird stuff in my life. And people said it to me even here. Dude, if you're watching, there was a guy a few years ago when the channel was not where it is now, and he kept telling me I was a star being, and he wanted to interview me. And I went to his channel, and I was a little weirded out by it at the time. But dude, if you're watching, let's do that interview because there's things going on in my brain that don't make any sense. And I had you guys know, on my 50th birthday, I had that death experience, and I was not a happy person before that, and I was pretty depressed for a long time, and I'd been suicidal, all those things. And when that event took place, I left my body. I could see 360 degrees all around me. All I could see is the color gold. And this voice starts talking to me. Totally calm. I wasn't scared, nothing. I felt nothing but love and happiness, and I was totally calm. There was no problems. I wasn't scared of anything. And the voice says, "You can go home now." And my mind was such that I'd been on social media for a little bit at that time, and I was having a positive impact on people I know, friends of mine, and mostly women, talking them through their shit. I talked a lot of women through some stuff, like their relationship stuff, and then the next thing I knew, they were back together with their husbands and everything was cool. I had a whole way of doing that. I've told it before, it's been years. It would be a good bit if I was doing comedy. Maybe I'll do that. But at any rate, I had this thought right at the moment. I said, well, lately life has been interesting. And I remember thinking in my mind as I was saying it, even though there was no, it was not verbal. It's interesting. I was communicating telepathically, saying lately everything's been interesting, while at the same time thinking what I think seemingly to myself, but obviously whatever this was talking to me knew everything I was thinking. I was thinking about the positive impact I've been having on people, which I always have had, but I wasn't putting a value on that. The YouTube thing later, I'm jumping ahead here, makes me feel like I have a purpose. You guys make me feel like I have a purpose. I'm compelled to talk to you, which I think is just about getting common sense and snapping people the fuck out of it, is my reason for being here. Entertain you a little bit too. But the voice then said, okay. And I went, like a shot, speed of light, right back into my head. And you guys know the rest of that story. I watched something the other day with this guy who says, and he had to come to terms with this as he aged. And then he found out it's true. And I'm just saying, I'm okay with accepting it. And a lot of you guys are like, you're full of shit. It's like the people who don't believe in Bigfoot and everything else. Fine. This is not for you. Turn the video off so you don't have to get frustrated by listening to the rest of what I'm about to say. This guy found out that he's actually like an avatar from the Pleiades. But what he said about the conversations he had with them is exactly what I was having. That's what's weird to me. Like they kind of gave him a choice and he chose to stay. And that's exactly what I did. And so that's a weird thing, a weird coincidence. There's a bunch of other weird things there too that I feel very attached to. So maybe there is something to this. Maybe there's a bunch of people here. I believe in all that, but I don't think it makes you better than anybody else. I think if you are a star child or something, I think that it's maybe your job is to speak the truth all the time. Like, go out of your way to do what I'm doing, where you create a channel like this or something, or you get on the radio, or you get into somehow your job is to get the message of truth out. And your job is to get the message of ideas that are true, that have been suppressed in the minds of humans, like they're, through education and being stomped down on through that, and socialism, education, the media, the propaganda, the way that they're controlling the minds of everybody else and creating tribalism and all that. I think that if you did come from somewhere else, even if you're not aware of it, but you're the type of person who's compelled to speak to these truths, maybe that's why. Maybe there's something there. So, and if I'm wrong, if this is just a crazy, delusional, nonsensical thing for me to say, okay, fine, let's say that's what it is. I still believe that doing what I'm doing and the people putting the message out there for you to wake up, pull your head out of your ass, and realize you've been lied to and you're being lied to all the time, we can help to wake people up. If I wake one person up out of 100 that watches one of my videos and make you realize that the media is lying to you and you're being controlled by your mind, then more and more of you can pull yourselves out of it. Just start questioning and doing some research and looking at other things, looking at a different point of view. It's up to you to pull yourself out of it. I'm getting a pressure on the side of my head as I say this. It's not a pain. It's just a sudden pressure right here on my temple. Anyhow, that's it. I'll leave you with that. It's probably been about an hour. Thank you for being here. Hope you guys enjoyed this. And I always appreciate you being here. I love you guys. And I feel it from you too. Be good to one another. Make somebody feel good. There'll be a bunch of videos coming up tomorrow. There might be a video tomorrow night that I think you guys will like. And if not, for sure by Tuesday. I don't know how I'm going to pull this one off, but it'll be fun. I promise.